Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake, better known as your average day trader. And if you're new here today, I go over stocks. I do a market overview and 3 stock picks that I like every Sunday and Wednesday, and those are both posted at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But anyways, this video is a little different. This is part of my educational series. I'm going to show you guys how to scalp and day trade, the things I look for, my method, and how to enter and exit your position in the most efficient way possible, in my opinion. So I'm just going to basically simulate a trade that I took on Friday. I was looking to short QQQ after seeing the after hours was miserable for QQQ. So the first thing I looked at, and this was charted the day of, I like charting the day of, I like seeing how futures move after the previous close, and I really don't start looking at my position until 6:30 a.m. of that trading day, 7 o'clock, around that area. And I'll obviously reposition my charts around 8 o'clock as well. I don't do anything too permanent until around 8:39 when we get a little closer. I mostly scalp in the first hour to 2 hours of the trading day. My usual rule of thumb is 10:30. I don't know why. It just is. It's an hour after market opens, and I think it's just to get all the liquidity settled and everything, and then really see where we're going to go for the following hours into the trading day. Okay, so if we're looking at my chart here, obviously you guys can notice a few things right off the bat. I use the indicators of the exponential moving average. I use 10, I use the 50, and I use the 200. I also use the VWAP as well. And then you can notice at the bottom, I use the RSI. And for most scalping and day trading, I use the 5-minute. The 1 minute is useless. Do not use the 1 minute, especially if you're using indicators. I recommend that you use the 5-minute, the 15-minute. You can even use the 10-minute. That also works too, but I like using the 5-minute chart. Okay, so the first thing I do before I know I'm going to enter a scalp or a day trade is I first look at the previous day. I look at the previous low, I mark it right here. The previous low of that day was this 300 level, and now we're obviously opening under the 300 level, which is really good for me because I want to go short on the stock. So I go to look and I make sure that this liquidity level that I marked, obviously here you can tell I marked from 300 to 301 where we had that bounce the previous day at the end of the day. So I just marked that so I have a channel of supply and demand. So I let the market open, I let it settle. I don't really look for anything around 10 o'clock. Obviously, it was a little bit of a liquidity candle, obviously hitting the lows of before open, which was this 298 level area. So I don't really look too much into it. I obviously see a lot of volume coming in on the buy side, and now this is when I want to start looking at these levels here. Obviously, we opened and we resisted right into the beginning of this demand, but now I want to see a break into that demand, go and test the 200, and then I would start thinking about entering my position. So now we're going to look at Tradalytics option flow. Now, this is not a free tool. It is $60 a month, which might seem like a lot, but for what you get and the advantage it gives you, I think it's well worth it. Now we're looking at this level right here. Now I start to see, let's see, okay, so we got into this zone, and all the way straight out the bat, we already see puts coming in. I like sweeps. I personally suggest that if you do use one of these softwares, this is how you should have it filtered. You should have it filtered as above. Alrighty. So I have bought, because I'm wondering who's buying these up here with it so early in the day. I'm looking for sweeps. Sweeps are basically when large institutions go across many different brokerages and get as many options as they possibly can. That's what a sweep is. And then I look for above ask. That obviously means that they have urgency. And then I also look for short expiry because this is a day trade or a scalp. So I'm looking to get rid of these contracts that day or even in the next 20 to 30 minutes, not even the end of the day. All right, so I have pulled up the exact time frame and the exact filters that I would use on Tradalytics. So we start to see around 950, which if we look at the chart here, 950 is this big red candle that rejected that demand area. Obviously, a few puts came in. Obviously, we did sink down a little bit. Most of these puts cashed out around this area. So I believe that's the 298 area. And then, we got this nice liquidity push upwards back into that demand area. And then that's when I was starting to look at my position and start to enter it. So we hit the high of the day at 1020. And if you look at this right here, 1017, then 1024, right as this candle is about to close, because remember, it is 5-minute candles, a bunch of puts came in. This is where I would enter my position. Just look at the amount of puts that came in. Different orders, different sweeps above the ask. Above the ask is important. That means urgency. If I saw something like this, I would enter my position at around 1025. So right after this candle closed, right after it closed under, I'd be in. I wouldn't be in my full position quite yet. After I saw this green candle, and then I noticed that the put volume is still coming in, I would add to my position, and that's what I did. Then I'd let it ride for a little bit. I'd be watching these moving averages, making sure. Also watching the RSI, as we are not oversold quite yet, if you can notice. Right at this marker, we're kind of sitting at the 54 area, which is still pretty high in my opinion. And it looks like it can go lower. So I start to exit my position as we kind of flatten out on the RSI. I let go at least 45 to 50% of my position and just let the rest run. I am watching the VWAP now because we are now trading under the VWAP. I watch here. If we did break through that, I would drop the rest of my position and I would be completely out. But I kept noticing that more puts were coming through. Large orders of puts were still coming through around 11:30. You can see right here, 11:31, 11:35, 11 or 12 o'clock. So we are still going down here, in my opinion. So I hold on to these runners, and my price target would be at the bottom of this liquidity candle that we rejected off of. So that 298 area or so, that's when I was looking to get out. And that's exactly what I did. I took my gains and I was done for the day. Trading and scalping does take a lot of attention. So if you don't have that time, I wouldn't suggest doing it. But if you guys found this information helpful, please let me know in the comments below. Subscribe if you haven't. The market overview will be out at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is tomorrow. And this will be out tonight, which is Saturday. And yeah, guys.